At 6.
It's National Orange Day. What is SU doing to celebrate?
And a major corporation reacts to a controversial new law in Georgia.
And big news for Starbucks lovers.
And all that and more. Citrus TV News Live at 6 starts right now.
From the Citrus TV studios, this is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Topher Lane.
And I'm Jacob Reynolds. More details are emerging following the massive terrorist attack in Brussels earlier this week. We have the latest updates on the developing story tonight. The world is still reeling from the horrible attacks in Brussels. At least 4 Americans are still missing and 2 suspects are still at large.
Authorities say 5 men carried out the attack, 3 of whom are dead. 2 brothers allegedly planned the attacks, Ibrahim and Khalid al-Bakrawi. Both died in the suicide attack along with their bomb maker. 2 unnamed suspects are still unaccounted for, with 1 being confirmed alive.
Belgian authorities have found the hideout of the bombers in a Brussels suburb. The home contained 15 kilograms of explosives. Experts say the terrorists were attempting to build a dirty bomb.
Belgian Interior Minister Jan Jambon said it's possible Belgian police could have prevented this. Ibrahim al-Bakrawi was sentenced to 9 years in prison in 2010, but was released early. The Turkish government also says they had him deported from Turkey a few years ago and warned Belgian authorities about him.
President Obama is now calling for the world to unite in the fight against terrorism. He said the U.S. will work with Belgian authorities in any way necessary to help bring those responsible for the attack to justice. Today is National Orange Day here on campus. 146 years ago on this very day, the Methodist State Convention in Syracuse, New York passed a resolution to form a university in the city. A charter was signed, and now over a century later, a handful of NCAA championships, hundreds of pages of research, and scores of alumni, Syracuse University now remains proudly atop the Salt City. Celebrating National Orange Day today in the Shine Student Center, the Chancellor was on hand to cut the birthday cake for the university. Today also marks the official birthday for Syracuse's mascot, Otto the Orange.
A social media threat has one school district nearby beefing up its security today. The Lafayette School District Superintendent said she was highly concerned after seeing what looked to be a threatening photograph and statement on social media last night. This comes as the second threat posted on social media this school year for Lafayette, but police are saying there is no credible threat to the school community.
Medical examiners have confirmed that the Syracuse runner who died unexpectedly last March suffered from a heart condition. Authorities were investigating the cause of 21-year-old Sabrina Kamek's death for months after she was found dead in a New York City hotel while on spring break with friends. She was a 4-year student athlete and a public health major at SU. Our hearts go out to her family and friends.
The Blackstone Launchpad is holding a Solve the Campus Problem Challenge through April 8th, where students can learn about entrepreneurship through a problem-solving exercise. Teams of 2 or 4 are invited to create a 1-minute video about a campus problem and solution. The videos will then be reviewed by the Blackstone Launchpad team before going live. Students around the world will compete for cash prizes provided by Blackstone.
A new study published by the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute produced some contradictory findings about obesity rates in Onondaga County. Citrus TV reporter Brooke Glatz helps us break down what these statistics means for our health.
The high obesity rate in the country and the state of New York has been a problem for some time, but Onondaga County shows that increased access to healthy options is not enough to actually get rid of the problem.
Syracuse and Onondaga County has programs, and I think that they're getting better at marketing these programs to people, or getting people to access them when it's appropriate. But I think that it is certainly something that still needs a lot of improvement here and then nationwide.
Exercise centers like the Metro Fitness Clubs in Onondaga County have been encouraging people to get in shape for 20 years by offering coaching in all aspects of health. With 2 locations in Onondaga County, Metro Fitness is just one of many fitness clubs that won't only help you maintain a healthier lifestyle, but it might help you out in some other ways as well. Many people and corporations are even linking up with fitness centers to teach and encourage healthy lifestyles for employees.
Well, the number one goal is still weight loss. have people come to improve their health, lose some weight.
And being in good health is good for both the employees and employers because of the reduced risk of disease, and therefore also reduced health insurance costs.
2 and time.
We go in and we do more of a action plan, exercise, bring in classes, body transformation programs, mental health coaches, personal trainers, nutrition coaches, and that's ultimately what's going to help the company. It's going to help a person if they come into a club and get engaged in one of those kind of programs.
Coming up after the break, a presidential candidate is receiving backlash for proposing to monitor Muslim neighborhoods.
And Flight 370 is back in the news.
Although spring officially started on Sunday, today is the first day of spring-like weather here in Syracuse. The morning rain and cloud cover has moved out. We've had some nice sunny skies left behind. Will the nice weather stay around for the holiday weekend or not? I have your answer coming up. First, let's send it out to Chicago, where Gabby Rusk is in some pretty bad weather. Gabby?
Thanks, Brendan. It's actually not too bad, just snowing and sleeting over here outside the United Center, but inside the United Center, Syracuse men's basketball getting ready to take on Gonzaga tomorrow in the Sweet 16. We've got your full NCAA coverage and March Madness. Stay tuned later for sports.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Ted Cruz received a big endorsement from fellow Senator Lindsey Graham, but not entirely. Graham is speaking out now against Cruz's recent comments that the government should monitor Muslim communities. Graham says the call for surveillance doesn't make sense. Cruz made the comments in response to the terrorist attacks in Brussels this week carried out by ISIS. Cruz received huge backlash on social media for the idea, with the trending hashtag, quote, my Muslim community, voicing support for Islam. And Vice President Joe Biden is stating his case for why Merrick Garland should become the next Supreme Court justice. Speaking at Georgetown today, Biden highlighted the dangers of letting the country continue with a short-handed court. President Obama nominated Merrick last week, but Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has been defiant and says the Senate will not vote to approve a candidate until the next president takes office in January. And some of America's most prominent businesses are now speaking out in criticism of Georgia's religious freedom bill that passed last week. Disney says it won't film in the state if the bill becomes law, and the NFL is threatening to reevaluate Atlanta as a Super Bowl host site, among other things. The bill would give faith-based organizations the power to hire and fire people depending on their religious beliefs. And North Carolina legislators passed a bill yesterday barring transgender people from bathrooms and locker rooms that do not match their birth sex. Yesterday's special session was called by Republicans in response to an anti-discrimination ordinance that provided protections based on sexual and gender identities. Republicans unanimously supported the bill, while Democrats in the Senate walked out in protest.
President Obama is wrapping up his trip to Argentina, where he paid tribute to the victims of the Dirty War. His visit to the Remembrance Park in Buenos Aires coincides with the 40th anniversary of the 1976 coup, a period of military rule that haunts Argentina. Some human rights groups said that they would boycott the event because they accused the U.S. of backing a dictatorship. Obama is using the visit to lay groundwork for the U.S. to come clean about any involvement. The presiding judge, Ogonkwan, says former Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic is criminally responsible for murder as well as attacking civilians and terror. The verdict for the wartime leader is the punishment for overseeing the 44-month siege of the Bosnian capital during the country's war. Kwan says Karadzic used sniping and shelling, targeting the city's civilians in an effort to further his political goals. Syrian state TV says government forces have entered the town of Palmyra in an effort to recapture it. The historic town has been held by the Islamic State group since last May. It is home to one of the world's most famous archaeological sites, and Syrian troops have been on the offensive for days trying to recapture the city. A clue in the mystery behind MH Flight 370 today, as the Transportation Minister of Australia has made a big confirmation. He says the debris that washed ashore earlier in the month in East Africa is almost certainly from the plane that vanished 2 years ago. Australia has been leading the search for the Boeing 777 jet since its disappearance. Now let's send it over to Jake and Brendan to see what we can expect after the break.
Thanks, Topher. New developments in the FBI Apple case, and a notable baseball player announces when he plans to retire.
And we need some showers to bring some May flowers, but is there any rain on its way for the weekend? I'll have your answer coming up next.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. And you get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
After a chilly start this morning, we ended up with a beautiful day. Can we expect this weather to continue into the weekend, Brendan?
Luckily, we can expect it to continue after a bit of a rough day tomorrow. Looking outside right now, 62 degrees and partly cloudy. Really nice and unseasonably warm for this time of the year. So a beautiful day overall. We had a high today, 64 degrees. It's absolutely beautiful for Syracuse in March. Taking a look across the nation, really above average temperatures. You can see in parts of Florida, California, and Arizona, temperatures in the 80s. Unfortunately, all of the Northeast isn't quite like that. You're seeing 24 degrees up in northern Maine. So not the nicest across the entire nation, but warm weekend coming up for the holiday. You're going to see for this holiday weekend, the cold front is pushing off to the East Coast. So high pressure is going to be moving into the area, which is going to keep it nice and dry. No rain for Easter, luckily. Starting with tonight, there is a chance of rain hanging around. 53 degrees is technically our low. That's a little deceiving, though, because that 53 is going to be dropping all day tomorrow. We'll take a look at that in the 5-day forecast. But it's going to be cloudy with a chance of rain, so definitely have an umbrella or rain jacket with you if you're heading out to a morning class in the morning. Not that bad overall tonight, though. Then taking a look at your Citrus TV 5-day forecast, see tomorrow 55 degrees with the rain in the morning, but it's going to be getting colder as the day goes on. So if you're heading out to a party to watch the basketball game in Chicago, it's going to be very, very cold, 27 degrees here in Syracuse around tip-off. Then Saturday, 52 degrees, 66 on Sunday for Easter, and then the chance of rain returns on Monday. Tuesday gets much colder after the rain.
So, Brendan, heading into the weekend, what kind of weather are we looking at? Stuff we can do outside? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely you can head outside this weekend. Bit of a chance of rain tomorrow morning, and then Monday, pretty dry overall.
And then Easter Sunday, any plans that you have going on? How's the weather going to affect that?
Yeah, there really shouldn't be much weather affecting anyone going out to church, maybe an Easter egg hunt, but pretty nice day overall for the holiday.
All right, thanks, Brendan.
Thank you.
Now we turn to our ICYMI segment where we fill you in on all the entertainment, consumer, and health news you may have missed. Jake, what do we need to know?
Thanks, Topher. FBI Director James Comey is speaking out about the fallout and the clash between the FBI and Apple. For weeks, the FBI tried to force the tech giant to break into the phone of the man believed to have carried out the San Bernardino shooting. Apple CEO Tim Cook refused, and now Comey argues the ordeal has led to a slew of people trying to hack into phones. In a letter to the Wall Street Journal, Comey says more and more people are now trying to break into cell phones, something that could cause problems moving forward. And a little bit happier news for Apple, the company is now accepting orders for the new iPhone SE. Apple announced the new device in an event at their Cupertino headquarters on Monday. It becomes available next week, but you can order ahead of time starting today. The phone is going back to its smaller size of 4 inches, though Tim Cook says it's the most powerful version of a phone that size. The 16-gigabyte phone comes out at just under $400. And Amazon has made an about-face after refusing to release information about what their employers are paid. It's now made those records public. The report says its female workers make as much as their male co-workers. Amazon also said minorities are paid comparably to whites. The spokesperson for the group leading the fight to get Amazon to release the info says the company probably chose now to be more transparent because it's happy with pay disparity throughout the company. And Starbucks announced that it will be donating 100% of its leftover food to food banks across the U.S. by 2021. Those donations will provide nearly 50 million meals by the time it reaches its 100% mark. Starbucks is hoping that other restaurants follow their lead and help end food waste. And in other Starbucks news, Starbucks' popular pumpkin spice lattes will be available in K-Cups in the fall. Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz announced that along with pumpkin spice, a peppermint mocha K-Cup will be available in December, and caramel, mocha, and vanilla flavors will be available in K-Cups year-round. And baseball fans won't be seeing Yankees slugger and controversial superstar Alex Rodriguez in a uniform after this year. Rodriguez told ESPN New York that after his contract expires, it's time for him to go home and be a dad. Rodriguez turns 41 this summer, but is coming off a 30 home run season, so this comes as a surprise to many. And the Los Angeles Rams will relocate to their new home on Thursday after 21 seasons in St. Louis. NFL owners approved the move to Los Angeles back in January, and it's the second time the Rams will make LA their home. They previously played there from 1946 until 1994. The Rams' first training camp in LA will be featured this summer on HBO's Hard Knocks series. But now let's send it over to Brianna Adams for your latest sports news. Brianna, what do you have for us?
Coming up next, I have your preview on the men's basketball Sweet 16 game against Gonzaga with Gabriella Russ, and men's lacrosse travel down to Durham to face Duke. That and more coming up after the break. Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Men's basketball travels to Chicago to compete against Gonzaga in the Sweet 16 round. SU advanced after beating Middle Tennessee by 25 points, despite the team upsetting the #2 seed Michigan State Spartans in the first round. Citrus TV's Gabriella Rusk traveled to the United Center to give us a first-hand look at SU's basketball practice today. So, Gabby, the Orange were given new Nikes as part of their Bring Your Game campaign. So, did the Orange bring their game? Getting a chance to look at Gonzaga, what should we look for when the Bulldogs face SU tomorrow? All right, we're having technical difficulties with the inclement weather over in Chicago. Thanks, Gabriella, for trying. It's okay, so we're gonna go to the next story. All right, so after facing their first loss of the season against Johns Hopkins, men's lacrosse traveled down to Durham to face number 11 Duke. Midfielder Tim Barber and head coach John Desko give us more on the battle against Duke.
They're going to come out firing. Need a win as well right now, but that doesn't change anything that we've planned all week and all year. So we plan to come out and keep the same game plan and pull out a win.
We're on the road. We're on the grass. They have a great face-off guy, so that'll be a real battle there. And you know, teams might have the ball equally, which means we've got to do a better job offensively, not get the turnovers that we had a week ago, and just play better lacrosse all around.
And in tennis news, the number 41 Syracuse returned home to host number 4 UNC at Drumlins. The Orange are currently on a 4-game losing streak, and UNC was not the team to break that streak. UNC shut out the Orange in today's match. Some notable matches included in doubles. UNC beat Team Salazar and Knutson 6-3 and Team Mitchell and Trinitau 6-2. Over on singles, UNC's Chloe Olit-Pizer defeated Dina Hagab in 2 sets, 6-4 and 7-5, and UNC's Whitney Kay beat Valeria Salazar in 2 sets, 6-3 and 6-2. SU tennis returns to match play at Drumlins on April 1st against Wake Forest. And SU softball have officially opened their season at home with a victorious doubleheader against Niagara, winning the first game 7-1, to shutting out Niagara out in the second 5-0, bringing their record back to 500. They hope to continue their streak in conference play as they host number 19 Notre Dame in a doubleheader. The Fighting Orange currently are on a 19-game winning streak thanks to Carly Wester, Melissa Rockford, and Allie Wester, who are ranked in the top 5 in the ACC for batting average. The Orange hosts the Fighting Irish at 2 p.m. Friday at the Skytop softball field.
So, Brianna, jumping to college basketball, men facing Gonzaga tonight. What do you think?
I think that they're actually playing them tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, late game, the last game, 9:40. They'll have enough time to get really hyped for the game. They have brand new shoes from Nike, so maybe they'll bring their game against Gonzaga. I believe that SU does have a pretty fair chance against Gonzaga versus getting Middle Tennessee, which was very easy, and Dayton was a nice rematch game.
Alrighty, now, first time ever, 6 teams from one conference in the Sweet 16. The ACC, of course, Syracuse, UNC, Miami, Virginia, Duke, and UNC.
UNC.
Who do you think has the best chance of potentially making a Final Four?
I believe UNC has the best chance. They're a #1 seed. They have done very well. It's always fun to watch a UNC and Duke game, so you see how well they do with aggression, with just being stoked, being hyped up for the game. So with the tournament, I believe they have the most motivation to actually make the Final Four.
Now Miami plays Nova tonight, Villanova, and Duke plays Oregon, both lower seeds. Do you think either one has a chance of making the Elite Eight?
I would like Miami to beat Nova. I think it is possible. Miami has showed up this season and wasn't expected for them to do as well. In the Duke game, I believe that Oregon's going to really win for that one.
Not much Big East pride with Villanova? No, not much? All right, well, tonight there are some good games. A&M, Oklahoma, Miami, Nova, Maryland, Kansas, Duke, Oregon, some good games. What are your projections for those?
Well, Texas A&M versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma will come out on top because Texas A&M really had a hard time with Northern Iowa. I mean, they got lucky that they had that streak at the very end in the last 35 or so seconds to win. So because of that, to not do well against a team as Northern Iowa, I believe that against Oklahoma, they're not going to be up to par.
All right, thanks, Brianna.
Thank you. And what are we wearing to class tomorrow? We'll tell you when we come back.
And what sports you can watch this weekend? Find out on the other side of the break. CitrusTV will be right back after the break.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
So, Brendan, what are we wearing when we wake up tomorrow morning?
Well, tomorrow morning it's going to be in the 50s in the early morning, but by noon we're into the 40s, so it depends on when you're heading out. You definitely want to have an umbrella no matter what, though.
And if we're going out, big game tomorrow for the Qs, what should we be wearing?
Unfortunately, you're going to have to bundle up. As I was talking about, the temperatures are going to be crashing as the day goes on tomorrow, so we're talking mid-20s by the time the game starts around 9:40, so bundle up when you're heading to the pregame watch party.
Hopefully the temperature is the most depressing part about tomorrow night. Do you think we have a chance?
We can only hope. I believe we do have a chance. How did we make it this far to begin with? But this will be a good competition to watch.
And Topher and I, huge baseball fans. A lot of baseball going on. Spring training about to wrap up. Who are you more excited about? Yankees, Mets? What you got?
I'm a Yankees fan, so I have to say the Yankees. But, you know, they're both showing big promise. The Mets coming off an amazing season. The Yankees have to do a little bit rebuilding. And A-Rod coming off, it's actually at the end of the 2017 season that he will be retiring. So he still has 2 seasons under his belt.
That's why we send the sports people to do sports and the news people just read the news. Big night tomorrow. Let's hope the Orange can eke it out. And that's it for Citrus TV News Live at 6 tonight. But if you just can't get enough, make sure to follow us on all our social media. I'm Jacob Reynolds.
And I'm Topher Lane. Have a great night, Syracuse.